Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel for car lovers.
As promised last week, today we're back with a Porsche 356. There's a good reason why we came back with a Porsche 356. Firstly, we love classic cars, and of the classic cars, we love the classic cars from the 1950s and early 1960s the most. Cars in those days were designed not only to be practical, but they were truly designed to be beautiful. It does make sense to reflect on the history just a little bit before we actually dive into our shoot and what we had done with these beautiful models. The story of Porsche starts with a design studio in 1931 when Professor Ferdinand Porsche registered his design studio. It was only when his son Ferry joined the family business that the focus shifted a little bit, it changed to designing a car for the everyday man. In 1948, the first car under the Porsche brand saw the light, the Porsche 356. Though Ferry Porsche took much of the credit for the design of the 356, this story actually has another unsung hero. He was the head of the body design shop or department in the Porsche design studio, a guy by the name of Erwin Komenda. He was an Austrian car designer, and he was also responsible for the design of the Volkswagen Beetle. So it has been said that there are a lot of similarities between the 356 and the Volkswagen. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why.
Okay, so the two cars we photographed in this episode was the 356 Coupe. We photographed the same color, and the other one was a 1953 Porsche Speedster, also the same color.
Did you know that the Sport Speedster was just a stripped down 356 to make it faster?
So they just took the roof off?
I don't know, they
Then
took
it's
more
faster
stuff
and
out
lighter.
so it's lighter. And guess who drove them?
No idea.
James Bond.
Ooh,
Sean Connery had one as well as Steve McQueen.
okay.
Yes. And I want one.
Okay, a little bit about the Porsche design DNA. I think the most important one is the, what do you call this, a fly line?
Yes.
The roof line, or Porsche refer to it as the fly line. The second one is the fenders, and this is the lines that tapered forward, makes the fender standing out, and the same happen at the back where the lines meet at the back.
I think the cool thing about a Porsche is that a Porsche for the past 60 years looked like a Porsche because there hasn't been much change in their design idiom in terms of the fly line, and these are also called the wings being higher than the bonnet.
The fenders, okay.
No. I can do it. Okay, hang on, I'll begin. In preparing for our shoots, we usually like to know what colours of cars are. We knew that the 356 we were going to photograph was going to be a light ivory car exactly like this model, and that the Speedster was going to be silver or grey, a colour we preferred to photograph.
Yeah, for the car fine art, to make it easier, the darker the car, the better it is to photograph, because with low-key light you actually photograph the reflection of light on the car. Lighter cars are a bit more difficult because the only way you can create shape in light cars is to actually add shadows to that. So that makes it a little bit more of a challenge to photograph the light ivory car. Silver is always fun and easy to photograph. Finding cars to photograph is not always easy. We were lucky that both these cars belonged to the same collector, and we were privileged to photograph it in a basement where we had a lot of space to walk around the car.
Usually when we start a shoot, that would be the first thing we would do. We call it a 360 walk around. We literally walk around the car and we look at angles.
Yeah. So to start, if we can prepare for a shoot in advance, what we normally try to do is to get a car model like this, and then we have a small little light, and then what we do with this is we test the light before the time to see what angles we're going to use and where the light will bring out the shape of the car. The angles that we shoot these cars, normally we start, if you put a camera here,
Check my little camera.
we've got a camera here, yeah, and then we start with a front shot. Very important photo, because this is when you look at the car from the front, you look into the headlights, that's basically the soul of the car. So that's an important angle. And the other angle is normally from the side, and sometimes from the rear, depending on the car. If it's beautiful enough, we will photograph that. Very important as well is gyro shot, front gyro shot.
After we've done the big angles, we usually start with the detail shots. These are the fun shots. Sarah and I usually can both photograph at the same time at opposite ends of the car. We also see different angles. So typically it would be the ones that you know is the soul of the car. So we spoke earlier about the wings, fenders,
wings.
Being high, the bonnet. The front of the car, we like these tapered lines. So you have various options, and you can also consider the perspective of the camera. Are you going to photograph them from a lower angle or a higher angle? Are you going to turn your camera in portrait orientation or leave it in landscape orientation? Those all affect the look and feel of the image. Sometimes it's also fun to do something a little bit out of the ordinary, maybe photographing it from here, which is incidentally a very beautiful photograph on this car because of the wings, fenders, and the shape of the bonnet. The back of the car we would normally photograph as well, also detail shots. It doesn't have as much detail in the back as it does in the front, but there is still some cool things that you can do, especially around the detail that's in there. Headlights. Headlights are also usually very beautiful detail shots. Notoriously difficult to light though because of the glass elements.
Yeah, and I find with all the cars, the headlights these days are much more beautiful designed as with the older cars.
Most of them look like eyes or animals or fish or something like that. Did you know?
No.
Let me tell you something. That Erwin Komenda also designed the Porsche badge.
Okay, now I know.
Good.
Okay. 2 megapixels.
To make our final fine art images, we have our camera on a tripod. So the camera is static, but we change the direction that we light the detail that we are photographing from. We end up with a number of photographs with interesting light. Those images are then imported into Lightroom, where we select the favorite ones, and they get layered into Photoshop into our final image.
Okay, and that is that for this episode. So, for next week, we
are going to the Lohman Museum in Den Haag.
And they have beautiful cars, beautiful and very, very rare cars.
So join us next week. In the meantime, hit the subscribe. What do you call that button at the bottom there? Hit that one and check out the links to our social media platforms. And we also now have a TikTok account.
See you next week.
Bye.